Okay, so this is warm-up 2. This has been designed again so you can follow along in real time. So just to start on our feet, nice and tall, palms up to face the sky. We're going to gently open up through our pecs and shoulders, bring those hands back as far as we can behind us, and swing across gently to hug yourself. So nice and gently, we're going to swing our arms across and make it a little bit more dynamic at each time. So you swing those arms back a little bit more force, just finding that end range and just nice and gently opening up for 10 swings. So I think we've got 2 more. 1 and 2. From here, nice wide stance, soft knees. This is 10 standing reaches. We're going to reach across the body, reaching as far as we can to that opposite side of the room. Soft knees, and we're going to reach over the other way. Notice how I'm picking up my feet, so you don't have to keep your feet planted as you do this. You can pick the foot up, rotate and reach right around. And the goal here is to stay tall as we get plenty of rotation through our body. So we're just moving through quite a few of the joints here. Just starting to move and get a little bit of rotation, especially through our hips and through our trunk. Moving into a cat-cow. So we're on the ground here on all fours, palms underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. We're going to start by pressing as tall as we can through the shoulders and tucking those hips underneath. So we're trying to push those shoulder blades up towards the ceiling, eyes are looking down between our thumbs. From here, we're going to drag our shoulder blades down towards our back pocket as we roll through, sending that belly button down towards the floor, and we're looking through the eyebrows towards the roof. So resetting, exhale, press away from the ground. Really try and get your breath in time with the movement. And then deep breath in, stretching through the other way, looking through your eyebrows towards the roof. So 10 of these, exhale, push away. Deep breath in and stretch through. You should get a little stretch between your shoulder blades as you press away. So exhale, pressing up nice and tall, nice and gently, and deep breath in, stretching through. So this is also taking our hips through anterior and posterior pelvic tilt, or tilting them forwards and backwards. And just nicely, again, loosening us up through our hips and through our torso, through our trunk, giving that spine some nice movement as well. If you've been sitting out down all day, this one's really nice to just gently move through. You don't have to force yourself into either position, just gently moving through. Once you do a couple of reps, you can start trying to expand your range and push through each position a little bit further. Nice. So once you finish 10 reps there, we're getting on to a reach through. So from all fours again, I'm going to take one arm and reach underneath the armpit. So through this gate here, between the wrist and the knee, we're going to reach right through, placing the palm flat on the floor and doing 1 or 2 walks with the fingers just to get a little bit more range. So just nice and gently coming up into that all fours position again. Taking the arm, opposite arm this time, reaching through, palm flat on the floor, and again 1 or 2 little walks just to get a bit more range there. This is for 20 reps or 10 each side. Just go nice and slowly. Treat this like a little stretch. Try and find a little bit more range each time. Our thoracic spine, or that upper portion of our spine, responds really well to rotation. This is something that if you spend a lot of time at a desk, driving, on a computer, on your phone, and just from a lot of the things in our day-to-day lives, you can start finding yourself quite rounded through that thoracic spine or through that upper back. This is a really good way to start loosening that up. So just nice and gently, 10 reps each side. You'll find that as you go, you should be able to get a little bit more range each time. Nice, guys. So if you're going in time with me, I'm not actually sure how many reps we've got. We'll just go once more on each side. The goal here is to get 20. If you haven't quite got up to 20 yet, you can just pause the video and go through till you've got 20 reps or 10 each side. Nice. From here, we're going to go downward dog to upward facing dog. So our downward dog starts from a tall plank position. We're going to send the hips up nice and high and drop the heels down towards the ground. You should get a big stretch right up the back of the legs there if you're dropping the heels towards the ground with straight knees or almost straight knees, which is what we want. From here, you can just gently shift your hips to the left, to the right, just to bias one side and then the other. Just nice and gently. And from here, we're going to roll through, keeping the arms nice and straight. We're going to bring our knees down towards the ground, keeping the glutes squeezed, and pressing really tall through the shoulders into a nice gentle back bend. So nice and gently. Keep the core slightly braced. Make sure you stay nice and tall through the shoulders. So what we don't want to see in this position is soft shoulders or dropping down towards the ground. We want to stay nice and tall. And resetting back into downward dog. This time we're just going to pause in that downward dog position. Again, 2 to 3 seconds. before rolling through, staying really tall through the shoulders again and rolling through. Now, if you're finding this to be quite tight down the back of your legs, you can walk your feet back a little bit further, and as you start to find a little bit more range, you can start walking those legs up close to those hands. Try and keep the back nice and flat, so try not to tuck too much. We're trying to flatten that back out as much as possible before rolling into that upward facing dog or that back bend. All right, something you can try if you want to, as an advanced variation, is to drop the knees down to the ground first, send the hips back, and then roll underneath that fence before pressing nice and tall through your shoulders. This is fence drill. It's just a variation to what we've done. It's adding one other element. So downward dog, feel free to try this. See how you go. Drop the knees down, hips to heels, scoot under that fence, keeping the elbows close. This is totally optional. It's just another little add-on that you can do instead of our normal downward to upward facing dog. All right, so we're doing 5 to 10 reps there. Just go as you feel. Once you finish, we're going to move into a little circuit. So we're doing this for 3 rounds. We've got 3 different movements. The first one is a pike squat. So we're finding our squat stance just outside shoulder width again. Our hands are together and the elbows are on the inside of the knees. We're going to actively press the knees out to the side. You should get a little stretch through your adductors or through your inner thigh there. Trying to keep the feet flat on the floor. If you're quite tight through your hips, you may not get down as far. So starting in a pike squat, this is our start position. Our hands are flat on the floor and we're straightening the front leg out as you send those hips back. If you are a bit more mobile, you'll be able to sit right underneath. And then as you place those hands down, really extend those legs up as you look back between your legs. So hands together, straightening those legs out. So that's the pike squat there. You're doing 10 reps of those. Once you finish, you're onto your back for a glute bridge. Glute bridge, we're bringing our heels towards our bottom, tucking those hips under to engage the core. We want the lower back to be pinned flat against the floor. You shouldn't be able to get your hand underneath your lower back here. From here, we're squeezing the glutes nice and tight, keeping that core engaged, pressing up, squeezing the glutes as we go, and keep that core in that top position. We don't need to try and get as high as we can so we get this big arch to our lower back. We actually want to keep that core nice and neutral and really focus on that glute contraction. So back down to the start again, tuck those hips under, squeeze the glutes, big press up. So we're not focusing on height here, we're focusing on glute contraction. If you start pressing those hips up too high, so again, tuck the hips under, lower back's flat, big drive up. If you push those hips up too high, it actually takes the emphasis off your glutes and moves it more into your lower back. So we really want to try and keep that core braced, core nice and neutral, and glutes squeezed. For a lot of movements that we do day to day, we actually want to keep a neutral core. We don't want our back to move into that extension or hyperextension. So this is really good as well for just patterning that really good movement pattern, keeping the core braced while you go into hip extension or while you're extending those hips. Nice, so 10 reps there. Once you finish 10 reps, you're moving into a tall plank knee drive. This is staying really tall through the shoulders, feet slightly wider than shoulder width. From here, you're lifting a leg, driving the knee to the elbow and slowly returning it back. The slower you do this movement, the more value you're going to get from it. Really big focus, just like our pec taps the other day. We're trying to keep those hips and shoulders nice and level. Common fault is as the leg lifts off the ground, the hips will start to rotate. So we want to stay tall through the shoulders, brace through the core and through our glutes and through our hips to try and maintain that flat back position and avoid any rotation as you go through the movement. There is a lot of core tension, as you could probably hear in my voice here. That's what we want. Stay nice and tight as you drive those knees up. It's more challenging with your feet further apart. It's a little bit easier with your feet closer together. Cool, so that little circuit at the end, we're doing 3 rounds, 10 pike squats, 10 glute bridge, 10 tall plank knee drives. Move through that 3 times. By the time you finish, you should be nice and mobile, nice and active for your workout. Enjoy.